Right. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to do a little trail comparison. KLX 300 DRZ-4s. Now, both bikes are set up very similar as far as accessories. No engine mods to this whatsoever, or performance mods, I want to say. Delcovic pipe and snorkel out of that one, and of course head pipe too. No fuel tuner on that. So same tire setup, both the bikes. You know, bar risers, everything like that, all the same on both bikes. And what I'm going to do, as I've done in the past, a little loop up here in the woods. I'll set the timer on my phone. I'm doing this all by myself. I'll hit the timer, take off. We'll do my little loop. I mean, it's got single track, a little small section with like roots that the suspension has to bounce off of, and the roots. We got a couple little sharp ditches. We got sharp turns. We got to brake and get on the throttle again. A rough hill climb, which doesn't look that rough in the videos, but it is. And then we'll circle back and come down and hit the stopwatch on the phone when I get to where I'm at. We'll kind of see how we do here. And this is, I'm not fully geared up. I am not doing GNCC race pace. I'm just going to do it at a pace like if you're out with your buddies and you're riding the dual sports, and you know, kind of maybe going a little bit fast and not just putt-putting. And we'll see how these two do against each other. So let's get the DRZ started up and let's rock and roll. Got my stopwatch here on the phone. And I got to turn off my ABS. Okay, ABS is off because that bike has no ABS on it. And no traction controls on or anything like that. Hey, no. Scout wants to go along. No. Nope. I always start right here in this little shade. All right, let's get the first run started here. We're at the starting point. I'm in first gear, bike running. I'm gonna tap the start. We'll take off, and I'll be doing some sitting and some standing as we go, and try not to wreck. Sharp turn. Downhill to a little bit of mud. And we got a ditch here. Oh, roots. Couple little turns, chicane. Now we'll go up through the woods here. There will be some crap in my way. Turn onto a trail. Oh! Looking for some single track. piece of wood. Drop back down here onto the fire road. Got diversions there that I'm hitting. Suspension handles those well. Got a golly here. Oh, that wasn't expected. We'll hit this in second. That has gotten rough. And we'll slow down, make a left. Some single. Little baby tree hawk. Get back down to our starting point. Big dip. Ooh. Now I'm gonna stop here. 455. Now we'll go grab the KLR or KLX, excuse me. We'll be back in a minute. KLX time. Let's get her staged up, ready to roll. Now, probably at a slight disadvantage on this because I have not had ride time on this bike for probably a month and a half, so I'm probably at a little slight disadvantage. The KLX already, it is a smaller stature bike. You can feel that right away when you're on it. Okay, we are in first, and I'm gonna let it rip. This bike is definitely slimmer feel, smaller feel overall. There is no doubt about it. Let's get ready to rip. And obviously, right away you feel the power difference. Got bumped into neutral on that route. Wow, I tell you right away, the power difference is ridiculous. I mean, the 4S power is just feels ridiculous compared to this 300. suspension is good, but definitely not as good as the DRZ. But I just can't. This thing feels just incredibly sluggish on the throttle compared to the freaking 4S. Wow. I've ridden these both, of course, since I owned them both before, but it's doing them back to back like this that you just notice the lack of power in the 300. But it's a 300, you can't expect a lot of power. The suspension on the Cowie is good, but it was actually softer on those hits back there. Second gear too. Oh shit! Somehow got into neutral there. That cost me a second. It's not a race, it's a ride. Log smash. Bring it home. Got this gully here. Gonna smash it. Well, I'm going to call that 5 because my finger missed it in the first second. Okay. So, well, you just saw the ride between the two bikes. 455 on the DRZ-4s. As you saw, I did hit neutral once on the KLX, and I had a little trouble when I hit the stopwatch. So we're going to call that 459 and 455. So 4 seconds difference. And any of you folks that have followed me, I've done this with other bikes, and they're usually all within 5 to 10 seconds of each other. It just kind of depends on what you want for a bike. So let's talk about that. Of course, you heard me, as soon as I get on the KLX 300, it feels very small stature when you get on it after you take this for a ride. This bike feels very small, very light, very nimble. Of that being said though, as you heard me, when you get on the power, this bike feels gutless. Whereas this bike has a lot of ass to it, and it will rip compared to this. So where are you at if you're trying to figure out what bike you want? Of course, this has the better price point. I mean, you can't beat what you pay for these bikes compared to the DRZ-4s, you're gonna have you're gonna be lacking in the horsepower and the torque big time, that's for sure, and a little bit of difference in the suspension. It's not, for the type of riding that I just did, it's not that you notice the suspension difference immediately, but this is gonna, hey Scouter, you're in the camera. This bike is not gonna take the amount of harsh trails that this bike can take. Scout, you're in front of the camera. What are you doing, boy? So, I mean, that being said, if you were a younger rider, a smaller rider, a less experienced rider, this bike is definitely going to be the bike that you are going to be after and that you're going to enjoy riding. If you're a larger person, a more experienced rider, and you want a bike that is going to be able to take full luggage and do awesome light adventure work, but still do some hardcore trails and single track, you're definitely going to be after this one if you don't mind spending the extra money. But that being said, these two bikes are both excellent bikes in their category. I know the DRZ is getting, this new bike is getting a ton of hate because of the price on it. But what you got in this bike right now, it is 100% worth the price. People have to get that in their head. This bike is worth every penny of what you're paying. I mean, I'm not, believe me, I get nothing from Suzuki or nothing from my dealer for saying this. It is worth every penny. But that being said, so is this bike. This bike is going to do everything that this bike can do, just with a different amount of power and suspension and a different feel to it. But as you can see in that video, they're, 4 seconds apart from each other, doing everything I could do in that woods loop, from the fire road, sharp turn, to braking, hitting a ditch, riding over the roots, a little bit of single track, going up that second gear hill climb, up over that. They all do it. I'm on the scale right now, hard to tell. I overate a little bit in the 4th of July. I'm probably like 206 right now without gear. That's buck naked. So with my gear, I'm probably 215 to 220-ish. And both these bikes got me around just fine. Which one do I prefer? I'm going with this thing 100%. There's no doubt about it. I've loved these bikes since 2002, the old generation 400S, and this one is just light years above the old one, and it is freaking awesome. So other than the fact that it's more money than the Kawasaki, if money's not going to bother you, or making payment a little bit longer, a little higher payment, you got to go with this bike. If you're going to get one bike to do everything for yourself, it's this one. That being said, this freaking bike here is awesome. Now I know if you follow me, I've had the CRF 300L. I had that for a couple years, and the CRF 300L has better low-end grunt than the KLX 300, that's for sure. It's nothing close to this bike at all, but the CRF does have better low-end torque than this one, so you can keep that in mind if you're thinking about a CRF. The suspension on the CRF, even with it like upgraded, I believe this year, it's still not as good as this, but I would still take this bike over the CRF 300, even though I like the gearing and the power of the CRF better. I just like the feel of this bike better. So there you go. Questions, comments, let me know what you think. If you have questions, any more questions about these two bikes, if you can't decide which one you're going to get, hit me up. I'll answer the questions for you to the best of my knowledge and the best that I can. Till then, like, subscribe, share, hit the notifications button, grab yourself a Dual Sport, and get outside. We'll see you.